Good morning. Good morning. Can everyone hear me? Hear me okay? Let me just check that's the right microphone setting. 1 2 1 2. Okay, 1 2. Perfect. That should be good now. 1 2. Yeah, perfect. Right, lads. Good morning. I can see some people in the chat. Just wait till it pops up on my phone. I'm in a new setting today. I'm in my parents' gaff, looking after the dog sitting, so not in the usual setting. So if this doesn't run quite as smoothly, please bear with me because I've got a little bit of a different setup. I haven't got my screen, etc. Let me know if you guys can see me. It hasn't come up yet on my phone. Here we go. Right, I think we're good. Let's just get a few more people in here. There we go. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. How are we all doing? If I'm looking down here, by the way, I'm looking at my phone in the chat because I haven't got my screen, so I can't look at the chat on one screen and look at you guys. Everything's going to kind of have to be done like this. So apologies if things don't run quite as smoothly, like I said. Not new house. I mean, I'm dog sitting today for the parents. Well, all of this week. Well, Monday to Wednesday. So all of the streams will be from the new location from today. Again, my internet isn't quite as great here. So again, if we get any dropouts, I apologise for that. It'll be absolutely fine, I'm sure. Just overthinking it, of course. Good morning, everybody. I can see Nordiak in the chat. Gary Hunter, yeah, new background. Only a temporary new background. And like I said, if this doesn't run quite as smoothly, I do apologise. But guys, I just wanted to say before we kick off and get into things, today we're going to obviously talk about Dom Solanke and the latest there. We're going to talk about Pedro Neto. We're going to talk about new midfielder links. There's some quotes from Andrew Postecoglou on new signings as well, and we're going to talk about some other bits. But before we get into that, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to all of you guys in the chat right now. And anyone who's watching this after, who watches my videos, I hit 2K subscribers over the weekend. My goal was to hit 2K before the Leicester game on Monday the 19th of August, and we've smashed that 2 weeks before the game. So I'm massively grateful for everyone who's got behind me and got involved. I massively appreciate it. Anyone who watched the video yesterday, joined the live stream for the Bayern Munich breakdown, I massively appreciate anyone who joined that. And yeah, it's gone really well. And we're on the march to 2.2k now, so nearly gained 200 subscribers in the last couple of days. So again, this wouldn't be possible without you guys. So thank you very much. And also, today on the channel, we're going to drop this video. The Dom Solanke video is going to be coming this afternoon. I've been working hard editing that and filming that last night. That is going to come later on today at some point, probably at 4 or 5 o'clock. So keep an eye out for that one. But yeah, guys, honestly, make sure to like the screen. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And let's get bloody straight into this, all right, shall we? Nordiak says, nice house. Thank you very much. It's like I said, this is my not childhood home, but where I lived before I moved out for like the last, how long ago was that? Like, lived here from about 2017 to a few months ago. But a lot of people, some people talking about a Europa League draw in the chat. I think it's for the playoffs, right? I don't think it's actually for the draw. So I don't think we need to really pay attention to that. Someone says turn the mic up. Is that better? Can you hear me, guys? Can you hear me a little bit better now, guys? Will that plant survive till Thursday? That is the question. Right, let's get into it. Like I said, let me know in the chat if mic levels and everything's all good. Brandon says happy clapper in the chat. Nice to hear from you, Brandon. Right, Carly, shout out to Carly, made this graphic yesterday. Here we go soon for Dominic Solanke potentially. I'm not sure if we're going to get a here we go this week. The fee is an eye-watering amount that we know, but we know Spurs are trying to get under that. We spoke about it on Friday, the fact that Spurs are trying to include players in the deal, potentially to get this one over the line. There's been a lot of new updates and a lot to kind of go through with Dom Solanke. But like I said, I'm not going to go too much in the stream today. I'm not going to go too much into my opinion of it. I think you guys know what that is. But also, just because we've got this video coming later, this video is going to come out around 4 or 5 o'clock today, explaining why I think he is the perfect fit for Ange Postecoglou. So, guys, when that drops, make sure to go and show that some love. The support on the videos in the last week or so has been absolutely amazing. So, and I feel like I've made a really good one here. So, go and give this some love. Shout out to Will again on the hard work on the thumbnail, and also shout out Darren and Doing as well. Mine and Will Hester's Tottenham Hotspur podcast. We're recording today at 12:30. So if you guys want to get any questions in for the podcast, send them to us on Twitter. If you want to ask me and Will anything, send that our way. And of course, we will be talking about Dominic Solanke on here. Right, what's the latest then in terms of Dominic Solanke? Sorry, if I'm skipping through tabs like this, it's just because again, like I said, this might be a little bit all over the place because I'm not at my normal location today, so I can't see the tabs in the same way that I usually can. All that matters is that we're streaming. Right, guys? So we had Dominic Solanke dropping hints like this on Instagram the other day. No dream is too big, no goal too ambitious, dare to dream and dare to make it a reality. A lot of daring in there. Someone want to remind me what Spurs' motto is? It's to dare is to do, isn't it? But yeah, Solanke dropping hints like this on Instagram. You can't actually see that, can you guys? Let me just see if I can I move that up? There we go. That's better. No dreams too big, no goal too ambitious, dare to dream and dare to make it a reality. Interesting. That's all I'm going to say. We know that Solanke is a big lover of anime. We see that in celebrations. And speaking of anime, I want to talk about the Dele Alli video in a bit, but what's the latest with Solanke then? So yesterday, Solanke was not in the Bournemouth squad to take on Rayo Vallecano. As you can see, he wasn't even on the bench. The official line from the club is that he is injured. He picked up an injury after last game. I definitely think that's true. But again, we've seen it quite a few times in these kind of transfers where there's an injury and things happen and all of a sudden he's moved. But it's going to be very, very interesting. I want to see what you guys think in the chat. I've got the chat on my phone here, guys. So apologies if I'm looking at my phone. Like I said, it's a different setup for me today, so I can't have the chat on the screen at the same time. Josh Hayden says, someone said, do you think Alvarez... Frank says, do you think Alvarez is realistic? Surely we could get Alvarez for that cash, says Luke. It looks like Alvarez alongside Conor Gallagher, who we'll come on and talk about, is off to Atletico Madrid. Corsair says we need new players, and I don't understand why we aren't trying to get 6. That's more physical. We will talk about a midfielder in this video who we've been linked with very heavily. Viz Vlog, welcome to the stream. Gary says he knows what he's doing. Solanke 100% knows what he's doing, I think. With this bit of cryptic, this cryptic bomb. No dreams too big, no goal too ambitious. Dare to dream, dare to do it. He might as well have just said to dare is to do, lads. But who knows? Maybe not. Maybe it's just maybe it's nothing to do with Tottenham. Lewis McKenzie, welcome. Yeah, everyone liked the stream, guys, as well. Lily white hair in that anime as well. And yeah, Richardson is the guy that we're going to talk about. We'll save that for the moment. 83 people in here right now, guys. So make sure you subscribe to the stream, to the channel, and like the stream if you haven't already. So yeah, not in the squad for Bournemouth yesterday. The interesting thing that's come from so is it here? So the Bournemouth owner has essentially come out and said that Dominic Solanke, he's quite confident that Solanke will be staying at the club this summer. He firmly believes that. He said, I believe Dom is going to be with us this coming year. He has a release clause which is very expensive. We shouldn't reveal anything about the contract, but that area sounds roughly correct. I guess if someone comes in for him, we're going to have to replace him. We have 2 or 3 candidates that we have lined up, but I believe that Dom will be here next year, and I believe that he's going to score 21 or 22 goals. Very specific. Very specific. That would be 2 more goals than he scored last year, but that is oddly specific, isn't it, from Bill Foley? But maybe he knows something we don't. But again, there was rumours, there was this noise here from Alistair Gold that Bournemouth already looking at targets for Solanke should he leave, and that has already been confirmed by the Bournemouth owner himself. So look, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Solanke. Like I said, it's a lot of money. I'm not going to go too much into into my opinions on the transfer in this stream. I've talked about it with you guys already, but like I said, there is this video coming on the channel later, which I would massively appreciate you guys show some love to. And if you could go ahead and subscribe to the channel, that would be massively appreciated as well. Like I said, we're at 2.14k subscribers now. Brilliant stuff. And while you're there, go and follow the TikTok page. Hit 27k, trying to hit 30k before the start of the new season. And also go and follow me on Twitter. But that's enough of that plugging. So yeah, they seem pretty confident that he's going to stay. Whether he does or not is going to be interesting. If Spurs really want him, my kind of opinion is that they get this one done. Will they pay the release clause? Bournemouth want it paid most up front. Obviously, that's going to be the same problem we face with someone like a Berriese. Ash in the chat says, I believe he's a big upgrade on Richie. I'm with you on that one. I just realised I wasn't showing the stream. I believe it's a big upgrade on City. On Richie, sorry, yeah. Veers Vlog says, I believe this is something for a few players have done in the past. They claim being injured and sickly in talks with Spurs. Yeah. We've got Stephen McCabe says, Paul O'Keefe is on Last Word on Spurs podcast tonight, so I'm sure we're going to get some bombers potentially later on. That's going to be very interesting. Corsair simply says, give me new players. I think we all want that, to be honest, mate. And I think, look, we did a... like I said, I didn't actually have my stream open when I was trying to show you guys. Yesterday we did a breakdown of what we learned from Tottenham 2, Bayern 1, and I massively appreciate the love that you guys showed on that. And like I said, go and subscribe to the channel on the TikTok and Twitter and all those things. I really enjoy doing these breakdowns, and like I said, they're going to continue going into the new season. And I think one of the big things we learned from that, other than the fact that Lucas Bergvall is just class, he is incredible. I think we learned that we definitely need those first team enforcements kind of in ASAP, and I think kind of mainly in the form of a striker, really. Obviously, Richardson hasn't played any minutes so far in pre-season for Spurs, which is a big problem. And again, is he going to be sharp going into the new season? Probably not. Kulusevski did an okay job there against Bayern, I'd say. I think he's performed better in some of the other games. Obviously, it was tougher opposition. Kim Min-jae is a very good centre-back and all those kind of things. And I think as well, I think one of the main things that we kind of could take away from the Bayern friendly is the fact that I think these players have kind of been run into the ground a little bit. I think it was maybe one game too many for them. We spoke about that yesterday. So I think that highlighted maybe some of the problems that little bit more. The fact that we were quite leggy, the fact that we didn't quite click in the same way that we have been doing, and obviously Bayern are a tougher opposition who gave us a really tough game. So, but I do think a number 9. I think Solanke ticks a lot of boxes, but like I said, I'm not going to go into too much detail because of the video that's coming out later. I'm going to, it's kind of an education, because I feel like there's a lot of people. I think there's a lot of people who aren't really on board with the Solanke kind of the Solanke hype train, which I'm very much on at the moment. But like I said, we actually did. If you do want to hear kind of my thoughts on it in the immediate turn before that video comes out, I did do an episode of The Lab with Flav from the Fighting Cock on Dominic Solanke with Mark Nesbitt as well. We kind of talked about Solanke, went through the kind of fan attitude towards him, and I think someone's put a comment here in the chat. Nordiak says, I think everyone is hating on him because he's not coming from a big club. Veersvog says, isn't 65 million a good deal for someone who scores 20 plus goals a season? Again, there is this perception around Solanke that that he's had this one good season, and I think that's a myth that I very much tried to kind of bust in this video. So again, guys, make sure when that video comes out, make sure to show it some love. Again, Will, who I can see in the chat here, Darren and doing, Ben, you're relentless, mate. So are you, mate. And says, if Solanke was French and called Dominic Solanke, we'd be twerking for him. Absolutely agree with that. As well, Corsair has said, something which is irritating me is that we got told we would do transfers early and getting a lot in, but apparently that's not happening. Let's go to this then. Let's talk about this. Let's move away from the Solanke conversation. So I might have to zoom out a little bit on this for you guys. Is that better? Can you see that all right? I can't get onto my OBS. Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, sweet. So Ange Postecoglou. So this was an interview that Alistair Gold did with Ange Postecoglou. And can we just say that Alistair Gold has been absolutely smashing it in the transfer window so far. I know we want more bombers. I know we want more transfer news. I know we want that. But some of his interviews and stuff have been absolutely brilliant, including this one. So this was part 3 of his chat with Ange Postecoglou. Let me just... I need my mouse over here, don't I? Right. Ange Postecoglou believes it was glaring that Tottenham need a bigger squad for this current campaign, and he admits that things could have turned out very differently last season. The Spurs boss ended up taking the club to a 5th place finish in his maiden Premier League campaign, with more points, more goals, and fewer conceded, despite losing Harry Kane on the eve of the season and having an injury crisis that left him with a lot of unavailable players. The Australian admits that he took plenty of lessons from the first season, and one of them was squad size, with just 2 new faces in Archie Gray and Lucas Bergvall arriving this summer. So far, it's clear that Postecoglou will want more transfer business done before the month is out. So Postecoglou said, they're always learning. I think one glaring thing about last year was that it was just quite obvious we didn't have a squad that was equipped to handle the rigours of a Premier League campaign, particularly when you're trying to challenge and sustain some sort of level of intensity and competitiveness in the toughest league in the world. He also said it was obvious to me that if we had any setbacks along the way in terms of squad absences, we really felt it. Probably more than some of the other teams, our competitors up there. So that was something we tried to sort. And it wasn't surprising to me, and it wasn't surprising for me. It was understanding that you really need a core group of players who are going to be able to maintain a level of consistency for us to challenge. And some that is just because it was some of it is that just because it was my first year and we had a lot of injuries, which I just think was the remnants of us training like the way we did and the way we do things. I think what he's kind of trying to say there is that obviously he works this group of players very hard, and when you haven't got a big squad, they're going to kind of feel the effects of it. And obviously we did see kind of a level of burnout towards the end of the season with Tottenham, and I think that kind of played a part in that for sure. And I think we need a bigger squad. We need more players through the door, like people are saying in the chat here. And again, like Ange Postecoglou said that he wanted business done early, right? And I think in an ideal world, of course, we all wanted that. And of course, you could see why he would want that. Sometimes it just doesn't happen that way because the deals that you want to do are more complicated and harder to get over the line, which is something that Skinny Fat Huey has kind of alluded to in the chat here, saying doing things early isn't as simple as saying and doing it. There's so many pieces to it all. We just need to be patient. And if by the end of the window there's nothing done by then we go crazy. It's not FIFA we're playing. I do agree with that, mate. I do agree. But I think now is the crunch time for Spurs. Like I've been, kind of banging that patient bandwagon and that drum for a while and saying that, look, we really need to just get behind what they're trying to do here. Obviously, it's not easy, but I think these next 2 weeks, our first game of the season is 2 weeks away now, and I think we really kind of need to move towards some sort of semblance of doing some business. Like hopefully this week or just as soon as possible, really. But again, I think there's a balance in between that, right? You want the right players. He said he added, you'd like to think this year we're a lot better equipped to handle that side of it. Obviously, we haven't strengthened the squad that much yet, other than Bergvall and Gray coming in, obviously Werner too. And some of it was just because it was new to the players. So my thinking is that we've got to go beyond just building a team. We've got to build a squad to compete. And I think last year was more about trying to build a team that would give us a competitive edge. 100%. Like the foundations were clearly laid last year. And I think it's just about going that one step further and actually... We really do need to build a squad. He's right. Like that squad game has to come now. I think we did some decent squad building over the last kind of couple of transfer windows, but a lot of it was just kind of fixing the pieces of what was needed in terms of that first 11. But I think this season has to go beyond that while also improving the first 11 by creating a more competitive squad. He said, it's been a significant rebuild. We're still in the midst of that. It was a group of players that was coming to a natural conclusion. You could see that even by the length of the contracts in place. We had about 4 or 5 key players really getting to the end of their contracts. So that told you it was the end of a team cycle. And again, I think one thing in terms of this rebuild, which has kind of gone unnoticed because of the furore around the lack of transfers coming in maybe, is the players that we have actually managed to get out the door. Football London put it to Postecoglou that although he wanted a stronger squad this season to handle all the different competitions, he has only so far got 2 new faces in. The Spurs boss said transfers will happen this month and that he's not getting emotional about the situation because he believes the overhaul at the club is bigger than many thought. He said, I don't think these are actually new quotes, are they? I think this was maybe from the other day, unless this is an extended interview. He said, I don't think we'll get it all done this window. I never believed in quick fixes, and I think I said that it would have been great if we got our business done early, but I've always maintained a discipline not to go off and sort of get too emotional through these times. He said, it's a difficult time. This is part of the season where I've probably got least control over decisions, and I've learned to stay disciplined and make sure that we do what we set out to do. We've added the 2 young guys, but I also think there's been growth from other guys last year, which naturally makes us stronger. I think we went over this the other day. He said, but yeah, obviously we still got a hand in the window, but I think we'll go beyond this window. This wasn't just tinkering around the edges when I took over. It needed such a big shift from where it was. I was just thinking about last year's pre-season. I reckon 50% of the people who were on that tour are probably here now. Again, kind of alluding to the rebuild. He said, I don't dismiss last year because it could have gone very differently. He said, I get that we obviously got off to a flying start and then we sort of petered out in the end. And people kind of hang on that and we finished 5th, which is not exactly exciting, but when you take over a club that's finished 8th with big expectations and you lose a generational player on the eve of the season, and there's some major squad restructuring, team restructuring, you just think about our transfers. If I'd have got even one of them wrong, if I'd have got Vicario wrong, Van der Ven wrong, Maddison at the start of the year, the way he was performing, if we didn't get the best out of Porro, Romero and Basuma, it could have been a very different year. And again, he's kind of alluding to improvement last season from the players that were already there, and also that continued kind of improvement going on into this season as well. I do think he's obviously alluded to the fact that transfers will come. Let's see if there's anything else kind of interesting to pick out from in here. I think there's some good kind of quotes on his kind of journey as a manager as a whole. But again, no offense to Ange. People don't want to necessarily hear right now, right? I will go back and read this interview kind of in my spare time. And I think you guys should as well. But I think in terms of the transfers, I do think we need to kind of move towards getting some business done, really. And I think he knows that, and I think he knows the fans want that. Look, again, I'm not too worried. I'm not too worried really at the moment, but I just think that we do need to get a move on. We do need to get a move on, really. One of those targets that has gone out the window, obviously we kind of were pretty much aware of this, was Conor Gallagher. Conor Gallagher has said yes. Here we go to follow today. That looks like it's definitely going to happen. There were reports last night that it had all fallen through. Atletico Madrid did everything possible with the Spurs target Conor Gallagher, but the Englishman still hasn't responded, giving vague answers. The move is now looking unlikely. I didn't mean to close that. That's annoying. So, yeah, Gallagher, I think we all knew that was probably not going to happen. And it's looking like he's off to Atletico Madrid. There was talk of a potential hijack. But who really knows, to be honest? Who knows whether that is gonna be the case? Look, I think, again, can we just talk about Chelsea for a minute and the fact that the treatment kind of Conor Gallagher, we didn't talk about that on the stream on Friday because I think the news kind of broke after we ended it in terms of the fact that he's been banished effectively from the first team squad, which is just absolutely bonkers, really, when you think about it. But yeah, that looks like it's done now. But Spurs looking like they may be moving on to other midfield targets. One of which is Amir Richardson. Now, Amir Richardson is a very, very interesting option. He's 6'5". This guy is almost a Dembele kind of regen, really, but maybe somehow more physically kind of complete in a way. He's playing for Morocco in the Olympics currently. He's closely being observed by Tottenham. Spurs ticked his name in a list of potential midfield recruits. This guy is just insane by the looks of it. Someone actually made quite a good comparison the other day, or yesterday when we were first linked with him, talking about him, that he almost is a bit more of a kind of tall gazelle looking like player than maybe someone like Nabil Bentaleb. It's kind of maybe more of a more physical profile than him. So what do we know about him? He's from Rennes. He's a midfielder, can play 6, can play 8. He's a left footer. He's 22 years old, from Morocco. He's 6'5". This guy, he's 6'5". And he is one that Spurs are reportedly looking at, according to reports maybe in France. He's one to watch out for in the next weeks. Currently the Olympics with Morocco, but many clubs in Europe are supposedly looking at him. Go and watch this guy. They're probably, if these links materialise a little bit more over the next few days, then there'll probably be a video on the channel. Sort of breaking down why he'd fit. Again, like, it's not a massive name signing, but when you go and watch this guy, it's clear what Ange Postecoglou wants from that midfield. They want a relentless kind of physical ball carrier, someone who's brilliant running with the ball over long distances, can track back. Like I said, he's versatile enough to play in that 6 and that 8. He's young, obviously he wouldn't be homegrown, which is not ideal. That's why they're looking at players like Jacob Ramsey. But I don't think that one's going to happen. But when you look at Amir Richardson, the Dembele comparisons are quite kind of on brand because he's left-footed. He's kind of got that mixture of that glide that Dembele had, but it somehow looks even more physical. Like I said, that frame, 6'4", 6'5", he's just, it's just incredible kind of to watch him in full flow, really. Very technical, good dribbler. I think Ange Postecoglou is trying to build almost a midfield of Dembele regens a little bit, and Amir Richardson is certainly one of them. Caleb says we need a left footer too for balance. Yeah, I think that's important. El Dante says cue more Spurs supporters crying as how dare we build by buying some of the top young players in the world. Yeah, 100%. Tekka says, do we really need another midfielder? We have Lolo, Biss, Gray, Pape, Bergvall, Matters that could all start. Yeah, that is true. But I think it's clear that they kind of want someone of this profile. And again, it's kind of about building a well-rounded squad full of options that you can use for different positions and use for different roles. And I do think this is one to keep an eye on. He's a very, very interesting player. And I think you should all go and... If you don't know much about him, look, I'll be honest, I didn't know much about him kind of going into this weekend, of course. But as soon as Spurs start to get linked, then naturally you take that a bit more notice. So, like I said, there could be a video on the channel on him coming this week if those links kind of materialise. But there will be this video today. So go and subscribe to the YouTube channel to go and watch this Dominic Solanke video that will be coming at you this afternoon. Right, let's move on, shall we? Looks like the Emerson Royal saga that has almost dragged on for maybe as long as the Conor Gallagher saga is potentially coming to an end. According to reports in Italy, AC Milan are confident that Tottenham will let Emerson Royal leave for his medical over the next 48 hours. Obviously, Spurs are back in the country now. They're back after the Asian tour, after the defeat against Bayern on, when was it? On Saturday. We obviously play Bayern again on next Saturday. And actually, to be fair to Emerson, look, if he was trying to play to get himself a move, then he played well. He did play well. Let's be honest about it. He did play well on Saturday. The final cost of the operation, I've never heard that expression before when it comes to a transfer, is believed to be between 15 million euros plus 1 to 2 million euros in performance-related add-ons. So hopefully that one is kind of drawing towards a conclusion. But one thing I did want to talk about, we'll come on to the Neto stuff a little bit later. So someone alluded to that in the chat. Who said it just a second ago? I'm very... where was it? Sorry. Tom Locke. Didn't Ange say they're looking at right-backs this week to replace Emerson? Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure about this from Fabrizio Romano. In the past week, Spurs have started exploring new options for the right-back position. Obviously, we were linked with Issa Kabore on Friday, if anybody saw that. The Man City fullback who was on loan at Luton last year. But it doesn't quite add up when you read these quotes about Jed Spence. Do Spurs need another right-back, you know? Postecoglou on Jed Spence. Jed's here. He's the Spurs player. He's a very good player who fits into our football, and it's so much about him as it is about making a decision. He's been very good in pre-season. He's impressed all the coaches, not just myself. There were also some longer quotes talking about the fact that there's coaches here at Spurs that Jed Spence hasn't worked with yet as well, who've been massively impressed by him. So that's incredibly positive. Who knows how reliable the Prem Inside source is. But he says the exploring new options is just the club keeping Jed Spence. Spurs are very unlikely to go for a new right-back as it stands. And someone mentioned earlier that Paul O'Keefe will be on the Last Word on Spurs podcast later, so I'm sure he'll be asked about that, whether he knows anything about that. But I do think it's... and we talked about Jed Spence, like I said, in the breakdown of the what we learned from the Bayern Munich game video, so go and watch that. But I don't see Spurs moving for another right back, but I could be wrong. I don't necessarily think it's a priority, especially with how Jed Spence has performed on the tour. Let's go to some of your comments in the chat then. Issa Kabore is pointless at Spurs. I agree with that. Gary Hunter says Spence, Gray, Porro for right back, Davis, Adogi, Spence for left back cover. Yeah, again, Jed Spence started the game at left back the other day. Struggled a little bit because playing out of position is natural, but I thought he did better in the second half. I thought he certainly did well. I suppose planning if Spence leaves, it doesn't sound like Spence is going to leave, Tom. Travis Leveson from Lily White Lab, jumping back to Amir Richardson. He says, really like Richardson and watched him throughout last season. Athletic, Great ball retention. Covers ground exceptionally with long strides, which benefit him off the ball, but also when carrying. 100%. Gray can play there as well at right back. So again, I'll be amazed if this happens, really. But who knows? Stranger things have happened than Spurs signing another right back that we maybe don't need. So yeah, Emerson, latest there. Niall John is close to leaving Tottenham on a permanent basis, according to Lee White Rose. Obviously, we saw Iago Santiago leave last week. I think this would probably be best for Niall John's career. Obviously, he's been around for quite a while now at Spurs and hasn't really been able to break through. Good player. I think he'll have a good career. Obviously, El Dante, if you're jumping back to the Emerson thing very quickly, you can have Donnelly who could provide cover at left back as well. But again, it remains to be seen whether Donnelly is going to go out on loan or not. So we'll find out. Let's move on to some juicy stuff. So Pedro Neto, I think Pedro Neto is kind of. It seems maybe that he is. Oh, sorry about that. That he's maybe come up the priority order in terms of the wingers that Spurs are looking at. Obviously, we saw that he was a name. Paul O'Keefe reported a while back that Pedro Neto was a name that kind of came back onto the radar for Spurs, despite previous reservations about injury concerns. But according to Fabrizio Romano, Pedro Neto remains a player that Spurs really appreciate and rate very highly. So for sure, he is one of the players that they've always had on the list. Let's see if they will decide to accelerate. But I expect Tottenham to be busy starting from next week. And this was yesterday. So it's talking about today. Are we going to have a busy week, Spurs? Who was that guy that tweeted Spurs fans are going to be happy this week? We're still waiting for it. We're still waiting. And maybe a cheeky little Pedro Neto bomber could go down very well. But we shall see. Again, look, Pedro Neto is an incredible player. Absolutely incredible. And could you build maybe a more perfect winger for what Spurs need right now, Franz Postecoglou, than Pedro Neto? Probably not. But again, the injury record is the big kind of holdback. Guys, 197 people watching this right now. I massively appreciate all your guys' support. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. That massively helps me out if you're new around here. And also like the stream and go and watch some of my other videos as well. Like I said, there will be a Dom Solanke video on the channel later on, which you should stay tuned and stick around for. That's going to be coming out later. So Pedro Neto then. There were some quotes from Pedro Neto where he said that he's really happy to stay at the club. He wants to take him to another level. But the important context in that is that it was at a club kit launch. So is he going to sit there in front of Doris and David, the Wolves fans, and say, no, I'm going to Spurs. I'm going to leave. Is he going to say that? Is he going to say that? I doubt it. Is he going to let them down like that? I don't think so. The question that was posed to him, are you staying next season? He said, I love this club. I'm really happy to be here and take this team to another level. Didn't say he's staying, did he? But look, you can't read too much into this. But the fact that it was at a kit launch, he's not exactly going to say. He's not exactly going to say, well, I'm leaving, am I? So that kind of context is important for sure. Again, 200 people in there, guys. Massively appreciated. So he said, I love this club, and we'll see what happens. So who knows? Who knows? But he is a player that Tottenham massively appreciate. There were some ITKs last week saying that Spurs are kind of advancing on the deal for it. Who really knows, if we're being honest? Who knows? But another midfielder that Spurs are apparently looking at is Fabian Ruiz. Now, Fabian Ruiz would be an incredible signing for Tottenham. Let me just move this across. And again, guys, apologies if things haven't run quite as smoothly with the stream today in terms of like the screen sharing and stuff. This is a new setup for me. I'm at my parents' gaff, dog sitting. He's sitting over there in the bed, bored, asleep, listening to me talk about transfers. I would try and show him, but I don't want to move the camera. Let's do it anyway. Let's see if you can see him over there. He's sitting down there, if you can see him. Little delight for you in the stream today, guys. Little dog watch, dog cam. He's in bed down there, just chilling. Rather be asleep, rather than... Oh, now that was a bad idea. See, just want to give you guys the content. I thought you might appreciate seeing a cute little dog on a Monday morning. We're back. What breed is he? He is a dachshund. He's a sausage dog. just chilling down there. That jump scare when it turns back around to me, I apologise for that. Say Coys if you're looking at the chat. Say Coys. Coys. Of course I'm looking at the chat, boys. Of course I am. Right, let me just move the camera back because... oh no, that's fine. That'll do. So yeah, Fabian Ruiz then. Fabian Ruiz, Tottenham are interested in the PSG midfielder Fabian Ruiz, and really likes him and wants to play in the 6th-rate role. I think, I'll be honest with you, I don't think there's anything in that. I don't think there's anything in this whatsoever. Now show us your sausage. Cheeky. I don't think there's anything in this. This would be an incredible signing for Spurs. How old is Fabian Ruiz? He's 28, maybe 27, 28. Again, kind of like Richardson in terms of that kind of leggy number 6, number 8 left-footed profile. He's 28. Is that the sort of signing that Spurs are going to make? Who knows? Probably not. But again, he would be fantastic. But I can't see Spurs doing this one, to be honest. Guys, as well, in the chat, let me know if, obviously, when we do this live, I'm not looking at Twitter. I'm just kind of looking at tabs that I've previously opened. So if anything's like come about this afternoon, or this morning, sorry, that I'm not aware of, that you guys have maybe seen while this is going on, put it in the chat and we'll have a look at it. Brandon says, Ben, I like your content. Thank you, mate, first of all. But are you not concerned at all for the season? I'm kind of worried about Ange not adapting. I'm not worried about Ange not adapting, really. Certainly not now. Look, am I concerned about the lack of transfer business? Am I growing increasingly concerned? Yes, naturally, as the season gets closer. Look, we're 2 weeks away from the first game. So obviously, yeah, that kind of concern is growing a little bit, but I'm still trying to just, stay calm as... Look, we can't control it, can we, boys? We can't control what's going on. But I think hopefully we'll move potentially this week for some players. Hopefully one of them being Solanke. Shout out to Carly T for this, by the way. Again, like I said at the start of the stream, I've seen a few people nabbing this and nicking it for thumbnails and stuff like that. You've got to put the credit where credit's due, Let me just catch up just quickly on Twitter. Like I said, I was asking you guys if there is anything that's kind of worth catching up on from a Spurs perspective. I've missed while we've been doing the stream. I don't think so. Tottenham away are having a meltdown about Conor Gallagher. Spurs journalists for 6 months told us with the inside knowledge that we want to sign Conor Gallagher. Atletico Madrid have just signed him for 35 million and we never put a bid in. Spurs journalists have been wrong about everything again. They're all clickbait mouthpieces. It's almost like Chelsea. We're never going to let Conor Gallagher go to Tottenham for 35 million, is it? No, that was never going to happen. But yeah, no point spending time on that. Also, should we just touch on the Brennan Johnson thing over the weekend quickly? I don't know if I'll actually be able to show the tweet because of copyright potentially, but also let's talk about the invert the wing Solanke tweet as well. People are having a meltdown about West Ham's business. Yeah, we can't show the goal, but you can see the top of the tweet there. We actually have fans who praise Brennan Johnson. He failed to score a goal or create a goal or assist in 8% of games versus the top 10 Prem teams. Even worse is his mediocrity, except when fans told me Brennan is better than Kudus. Jesus. I mean, I can't show you it, obviously, because of the copyright, but that is Kudus scoring an unbelievable solo goal in the Europa League last season for West Ham. Just having a meltdown over nothing. Like, absolutely nothing. Look, West Ham have done some good business, but, and this was funny. Where is it? The invert the wing tweet. Like, would Dominic Solanke start for... Here we go. Does Dominic Solanke start for Man City? Does Dominic Solanke start for Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, Chelsea, Villa, Brentford, Newcastle, Wolves, Brighton, West Ham, Crystal Palace? No. No, he does not. Jesus. Just get out of your own way. This guy isn't even a Spurs fan. Like, he's not even a Spurs fan. It's just absolutely crazy. But... yeah, Josh Hayden says invert the wings. That's such a legend, such a good laugh. Yeah, I wouldn't say he's a legend, but again, it just annoys me that people just confuse him for actually being a Spurs fan. But who knows? Right, let's talk about something more positive. Dele Alli with an anime-themed comeback video featuring Naruto for Adidas. This was incredible. If you guys haven't watched this yet, it's so cool. And hopefully, Dele, is mounting. The fact that Adidas are kind of getting involved and doing this hopefully shows that he's potentially on the way to coming back, which would be great. He said there was a quote from Naruto: in the world, no one's perfect. Even if you keep pursuing perfection, you'll never reach it. But along the way, you'll become something great. And look, I think Dele knows that. I think he probably knows that. Is he going to get back to that level or near it? Probably not, right? But I think one thing with Dele is the fact that he's got that belief in himself that he can do it. And I think that's the most important thing. Obviously, he spoke about the fact that he spoke on the overlap about the fact that he's got that World Cup 2026 reminder on his phone every day. And look, it's great to kind of have that ambition within you. Whether he achieves that or not is going to be... I mean, I absolutely love him too. I don't think it's going to happen, but I think that hunger is very much within him, which is great and which is super important. So we shall see what happens with Dele. But that video is so cool if you get the chance to go and watch it. And finally, I want to talk about this. Sprinting towards the start of the season, which player would you back to claim the gold in the Premier League 100 metres? I mean, if you guys saw the 100 metres last night, it was absolutely incredible. But Mickey van der Ven, I'm sorry, but Traore is probably the only one that comes close to him. He was literally the fastest player in the Premier League last season and the fastest ever recorded sprint in Premier League history. So that was very amusing. And like I said, let me just double check if there's anything that anything's happened. Again, like people are saying that Spurs, William Pacho's going to PSG. Interesting one. He would have been good for Spurs, but again, I don't think it's necessary. And that's your lot, really, lads. Again, like I said, massive thank you for 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. I massively appreciate it. The last month has kind of been incredible in terms of the growth. And like I said as well, we are going to be recording Daring and Doing, the podcast at 12:30 today. So get involved with that, guys. Listen to it, watch it, subscribe to it. Go and give us a follow on Twitter as well. You can find us, obviously, over on YouTube. We've hit 400 subscribers now. So go and listen to the pod when it's out later. So yeah, guys, thank you all so much. We'll be back live tomorrow morning where we're hopefully talking about some more positive Spurs transfer news, potentially. And let me just quickly get in the chat and see what guys are saying. You don't get anywhere. Talking about Dele Alli, you don't get anywhere in life if you don't try hard. Exactly, and that's what's great for Dele. I can see some of the follows coming in on Twitter now for Daring and Doing, which is great. Are the Solanke rumours just deployed to get Brentford to drop their price for Tony? Maybe. Who knows? We shall see. And yeah, that's it, guys. Like I said, make sure to stick around on the channel this afternoon. The Dominic Solanke video is going to be up later on today. The support on the videos has been incredible recently. So I'd massively appreciate if you guys go and show it some love. Let's get another 1 of 10, boys. Let's get another 1 of 10. And I'm finishing editing the video after this and recording the podcast. So whatever you guys are doing, I hope you had a fantastic day. Don't let Spurs get you down too much, all right? And see you later, guys. And up the Spurs. Can't wait to get back to the lane in here. So here, quite.